while we wait for IT council, I think it's Councilwoman Ruano, myself, Councilman Garcia, and Councilman Collazo, please review the proposed budget summary, because I think there might be a way to expedite this. If you guys have any questions of committees, instead of having them all come up and present, we can just ask questions of them individually, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 committees. That's exactly what I'm saying. Not all of them had changes, or very minimal changes. No, not yet. We're gonna wait. We gotta wait for IT to. So if any of you guys just start lining up your questions, so that way we can flow through this a lot easier. Hey, Gina, are we ready to go?
Yes, Mayor, we can start.
Hey, we're starting the committee budget workshop. Council, we could do it. We could go one by one, ask the chairs to come up, or do you guys have questions of these chair people on their increases, their decreases, or staying the same? Because
I have a comment that it has nothing to do with your budgets, but I'd like to know if you would be open, just in general, raise hands, if you would be open to reducing the amount of activities that we have per year. I feel like all the committees have a ton of activities and they all kind of jumble on top of one another, and the community doesn't really get a chance to focus on one. Would you be in favor of perhaps limiting to a certain amount of activities per I know the elderly affairs is that's a different animal. So I'm not, Dottie, I'm not talking to you. I know that you're right, but you guys are pretty much self-funded, right? So that's a different animal. But perhaps each committee can have 2 or 3 big events per year instead of having a bunch of little ones that sometimes don't get enough traction. So it was just something that I've been thinking of for a long time. And I thought that maybe we could at some point visit that just to break the ice and have some conversation. I saw a lot of hands.
Real quick before we get it, I know we have one of our chairs is celebrating their birthday today. So I want him, if he has any words to say, just to come up, just to get him out of here, because I know he has a birthday dinner.
Yeah, actually, there were 2
There's
requests.
there's
One
two.
from Education Advisory and one from Neighborhood Improvement were the 2
So
requests.
it's Chair Abad's birthday, guys. Happy birthday, Hector.
Happy birthday.
Oh, it's your birthday too? And Felicia, is it really your birthday? Hector, anything you want to say to get you guys out of here? I know you're gonna go have your birthday dinner. Yeah, no, but you don't have to present. You're asking for $4,500 more.
Oh, Hector, it's not going to give you a good birthday if you're asking for $4,500 more.
Come on up. Come on up. I'm sorry, we took him a little bit out of order because it is his birthday, his 39th birthday.
39 is a great number. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Town Council, and Town staff for having us here. I think it's such a blessing to be able to spend part of my birthday evening with you guys. So you have our budget in front of you. All we're really asking, if you look at it, Ms. Ruano, I would take 2 or 3 events. We have none. So if you give me 2 or 3, I'll be happy.
We'll limit it to 3 and that'll make me happy.
So, but I'll be happy if you approve the one that we're requesting. For the last couple of years, we've been having the annual awards of excellence. I think most of you have attended the event. It's an event that the whole community has really bought into it. It recognizes all our students, students and educators. This year we recognized the scholarship award winners from the Graham Company, as well as the teachers that were retiring this school year, at the end of the school year. So we would like to continue the event. We realize that a lot of committees are requesting funds. We will always strive to get sponsors. However, I know where a lot of committees are tapping into the same sponsors. It's becoming increasingly difficult. And we just wanted to make sure that we're able to hold this event on a yearly basis. By you funding it, it pretty much guarantees that we can move forward. If you have any questions.
Council, any questions on Education Advisory Board? Just jump in. I see they have a decrease and they have an increase.
I wanted you to go over the budget with me. I know that your budget is probably the largest one. I don't know if it's the largest one. But there's some unique things in your committee that other committees don't have. So I know that you fund some classes or courses at some of our local schools.
Right.
So if you could walk us through the items on your committee, and when I have these conversations, everybody has committee envy because your budget is pretty big, but I know that it's not money that you utilize for activities or anything like that. It goes directly into our schools.
Right. So the AP language programs, I mean, a lot of these things are being funded were way before most of us are on the board. I believe you might have been on the board when those happened.
Yes.
So the $26,000 go directly to a supplement for an AP language program. It's a vocabulary program that we fund at both K-8s and the middle school. So what it does is, like I said, it funds a supplement, one extra period that we pay the teachers to grab up, to teach those classes. There's also the Friends of the Library and the Imagination Library. The Friends of the Library is tied into the Dade County Library, or the Town of Miami Lakes Library. We fund them for some of the events that they do for our students, for our kids. And the Imagination Library is a partnership with the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, in which we pay, I believe it's for the shipping of the books. It's for kids under the age of 5. And if you notice, that's the one category that we reduced the amount. We reduced it based on the fact that the data that we got is that we were only using about $2,800. I was advised today that it might be higher this year. So if we don't need to cut it, I'd rather not cut
Is
it.
that something that you're promoting at our local events? Because a lot of people
We-
don't know that that exists. It's such a beautiful program, but many people don't know that it exists.
Age. It's capped out at a certain age, so the.
Correct.
It all depends on that.
When we do have events that are that of age for 5 and older, we do promote it. We do have the flyer and the packet for them to have. When it's something that's, above that age, we really don't have that.
Right, because you kind of have to catch them right, when they're babies so that they can enjoy it longer.
It is also promoted at the elementary schools as well.
Right. So as far as the STEM elective courses, again, those go directly to the K-8s, both K-8s. They get money to buy supplies, STEM supplies, competition fees, equipment that they may need for their programs. So those are the major categories that we really use.
So we no longer have grants for teachers or anything like that. All of that has been removed from your budget. I remember that years back, there were some grants for clubs and for teachers.
No, so the grants were not even there last year. I believe you guys expressed your desire for us not to be funding those things. That came from the money that you guys had designated to SAT and ACT prep courses, which were not very well attended.
Mhm.
So we had transferred the money for 1 year. It was only happened once, and we used it as grants to all the schools. So we're trying to benefit as many kids as, we understand the fact that the AP language arts programs doesn't really impact that many kids. In reality, think about it, it's 3 supplements, let's say 25, 30 kids per class, benefits about 90 kids. So we wanted to try to benefit as many kids as we could. That's why we requested that. You guys expressed your desire for us not to do it, so we removed it. The only new thing, like I said, it's the annual awards of excellence. It is very important to us. I personally heard a lot of positive things from the district, from our school board member, from our principals. And I would love to make that our showcase event or signature event. So that's it. We have 3, 4, 5 categories. That's all we have. There's a lot of categories, but only 5 that are funded.
Thank you. Anything else, Councilwoman Verano, on? this?
No, I attended this event and it was a lovely event. I actually, aside from the broken air conditioner, everything else was great. The food was excellent. The children had a wonderful time. I won't be approving any increases for any committee this year. But I'd like to know these programs, right? These classes were implemented when I was on the Education Advisory Board. And it was in an effort to bring a little bit of, to bring a little more to the K-8 centers because they're not funded in the same way that traditional middle schools are funded. So some of the students that choose to stay at the K-8 center, they're kind of at a disadvantage because there's some electives that are not available to them and whatnot. We had a wonderful EAB member, Paula Marks. She was a school teacher, a local Miami-Dade County public school teacher many years ago. And she was the one that explained to us how important these vocabulary classes are for children that are on the AP track. Because some children are very bright and they have wonderful possibilities, but if they don't have the vocabulary necessary, once they reach high school, then they struggle with the textbooks and whatnot because they don't have the proper background in vocabulary. And that's why we implemented these programs. I'd love to know from the schools if they're still yielding the results that they were yielding at that point, and if it's still something that we want to continue to do.
So the principal will be coming to our next meeting. We could ask the question. That is one category that we sometimes disagree as a board. I personally feel that we don't benefit as many kids as we should with that money. It's a big chunk of our budget, and it only benefits about 90 out of the 9,000 kids we have in the town, right? It's not very inclusive. It's just for those kids who are on the AP track, like you said.
Mhm.
So it limits who we impact, and that's why in the past we've tried to do the grants, because we figure it impacts more kids,
Right.
right?
What I didn't like about the grants was the way that they were utilized. I didn't feel that they
Right.
were always utilized for educational components. So that's kind of why it wasn't something that I was
But
a
it
fan of.
always
But
went back to the school. And again, we're not arguing the grants because they're not even funded.
Right.
I know it was very clear when Mr. Bueno was the superintendent of the region. I remember him telling me straight out how we should not be doing right, we should not be curriculum building, that he preferred our support be done in other ways, and that's what we tried to do.
Right, because they want to utilize the funds that we give them in a
Sure.
way that they're not allowed to utilize their own funds.
Sure, I know, I
But-
agree.
Right, but we're also responsible for our funds, right? Because we're
Absolutely.
also, guardians of taxpayer money, just like the schools are. So we're both kind of in that same predicament. I know that back in the day, there was, gift cards and, kind of awards and things that were done to try to motivate children to come to tutoring and things like that. And that was always kind of, the schools didn't have that flexibility with their funding.
Right.
So that's one of the things that I think that as council members, we also feel that we don't have that flexibility with taxpayer money either. So the curriculum-based dollars seemed, more adequate. But I'd like to know from the principals, how these things are going and if it's still something that we should be dabbling in.
I'll make sure to ask the question.
Thank you.
Chair Abad, and happy birthday. I don't know if anybody, you guys want to
Happy
sing happy
birthday.
birthday?
Thank you.
You're gonna- Councilman Morano's gonna lead a happy birthday for Hector. Happy birthday.
Listen,
song.
absolutely. Ready?
1,
2, 3.
Happy
Happy
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha. Happy birthday, dear Hector. Happy birthday to
Happy 39th.
Happy birthday, brother. Chairs, there was one more request that our manager said was the chair for our neighborhood improvement committee had asked if he can come up because he has a birthday. and he's-
Yes, not mine's, but my father-in-law's. And I can't miss that one.
Happy birthday to your father-in-law.
Thank you. All right, so I'll make it quick, guys. First and foremost, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. We appreciate your time and listening to all our committees and the information that we have to bring to your attention. So unfortunately, for the Neighborhood Improvement Committee, we were not able to hold that meeting into which we review our budget for last year. And our manager was nice enough to put a number in there. And I believe that number was $1,000. Looking at our past history, and I'm sure you have that right in front of you, going back to 21, 22, and our budget went from 6,500 to then 22, 8,900 to then 7,750. And then now last year, or the current year that we're in, 6,650. We're the second lowest budget. I thought we were the first one, but public safety beat us.
Or Nancy.
We only really collect money for 4 line items. And the largest one, it's our bike ride, which unfortunately, I personally have had some life-changing moments, going back all the way through December, including a personal injury that I was not able to participate. But our budget really it's not a whole lot. We're not asking for an increase. I would
You're
humbly
asking for
ask.
a decrease, actually.
No, I didn't ask for that. The manager did.
No, we looked at the history. If you look at the page and you look at fiscal 1920, they expended $147, 2021, $91. In fiscal 21, 22, $0. And that's why when they weren't able to meet and they weren't able to submit a budget, in lieu of putting it at 0, we put the $1,000. But
Which we've had happen in the past. I don't think this is the reason with this year that the funds for the bike ride have been paid out of other accounts. So when you go ahead and pull up the year to date, you don't see those charges on that line item, because the rest are not events, that we have. But we did have, and you know, our liaison can correct me if I'm wrong, we did have all bike rides this year, and those are about $1,200 per bike ride, for the police escort. And we have about 4 or 5 of those for the year. So again, I humbly ask, that you just, you know, no increase, just leave it at the same that we had last year for 65, 6550,
6650.
6650, excuse me.
Okay,
to-
that's fine. I'm personally good with that. I don't know if anybody has any other questions of Chair Yoredo? No, thank you. Happy birthday to your
Thank you for
father.
your time. And Mr. Manager, I really appreciate you stepping in and putting something in there. And I apologize to the council and to the liaison and staff. You know, the neighborhood improvement committee, we're kind of been running a little low for the past few months, you know, and getting that agenda inside. But again, I take full responsibility for that. Like I said, I've had some, you know, changes in my life that I've had to deal with it. But I think this month, we're gonna start getting back on track and doing what we do best. So
Thank-
I apologize to everyone, and including our neighborhood improvement committee members.
No need to apologize.
Thank
man.
you, Rudy.
Thank you
very
so much.
Thank you.
Have a blessed night.
Appreciate you. Take care, Rudy. Elderly Affairs Committee? Little button
Turn
right,
up.
right there.
Hello? No?
Press it again. Try. It's like a little green light there.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, there it is. Now it's there. Good afternoon or
go.
evening, I guess, mayor, council persons. Thank you for your time. So I have good news and bad news. The good news is we're here and we have a lot of elderly that are really active in this wonderful city of ours or town of ours. That's the good news. The bad news is then we need more money to assist them. And the also bad news is, as we all know, the cost of living and cost of food has gone up exponentially. I mean, exponentially. So unfortunately, we've had to ask for more money. But I'll go through and I did a little printout for everybody that goes through the budget real quick, so I can go through it pretty quickly, and then you guys can ask questions. The freebies, we're keeping it the same, which is $2,500. The community forums, we're reducing it. See, I'm trying, we're trying. We're reducing it by 250 because we get a lot of sponsors for that, and a good part of that is paid for. So we want to move that to the meet and eat. The meet and eat, for anybody that doesn't know it, is the bingos. And then we're going to the health fairs. We're reducing that to 0. Not that we're getting rid of it. We're not getting rid of it, but we get so much sponsorship money that we really don't need a budget for it. So we're moving that to 0. So we're taking those 500 and we want to move those again to the meet and eat. And as you see, then we get the meet and eat. Now the meet and eat's the big one. Unfortunately, we're asking for 25,100. What we do is, we're taking the money from those others that I've just talked about and moving it into there to try and reduce how much we're asking for. But the average cost of a bingo in food alone, the average, and I'm talking the lower leg, is $1,380. That's the average.
And how many of those do you have? 1 a month?
We do 2 a month, so there's 23 because we take off the last week of the year. And so that's 740. Now, we do get sponsorship money for that. So we've averaged it, and just so you know, we've all voted to increase the amount of sponsorship cost to sponsor the bingos because they're very well attended. As you will see, the average of them is 125 people attend. And so if you subtract that, we only needed $24,100. And how we get that math is basically we take that and we divide the cost by 125, and it's really, we're asking for $11.04 per meal. That's all we're asking for. I mean, it's a little more expensive than McDonald's, but we're actually providing them with a drink. I mean, it depends what you get at McDonald's. It's probably cheaper than McDonald's,
gonna say.
actually, but we're providing them with a drink. We're providing them with a meal, and usually 99% of the time there's a dessert. of some nature. And then they play bingo. Now, part of that is when we contract with these restaurants, and we always contract with restaurants in Miami Lakes, they give us then gift cards. And that's what's raffled off at the bingos. So it then generates funds for those restaurants in the future because, I mean, they give us $25, but you know, they're usually taking their family or somebody else, and a meal at a restaurant very rarely does not cost only $25. So it brings money into the restaurants and it helps them discover certain restaurants.
I don't have any issue with it. Does anybody have an issue with it? Councilman Morano, Councilman Garcia, Councilman Collazo? I don't have a problem with it. I don't know.
We're supposed to be receiving more revenue this year based on the estimated assessments that we're going to be receiving. I wanted this year to concentrate on infrastructure in the town and not increase committee budgets. So I'm not sure that I'll be approving it. I don't know if you can host them less often, or it'll depend on, when
I
our
can
final
tell you
numbers
the
come.
elderly want it more often if you
I
speak
know,
to the
I know,
seniors.
I know.
Because it is their opportunity to get
I
out of the
know.
house.
I
And a lot of them, that's really when they do eat. And they get a complete meal because we are providing them with a complete meal. So it is assuring them, albeit twice a month, a complete meal. It helps they're on a very restricted budget themselves. And 2 meals really does help them. I understand that I am a small fish in a big pond. But we did get rid of our miscellaneous budget, which was the next one, which was 500. We moved it to the meat. And then we're keeping we're not doing any more field trips. We're not adding field trips, even though they want more field trips. We're keeping them the same because we really are trying to feed the elderly and keep them entertained with as little cost as possible to the town.
What is the line item that says transportation freebie?
That means we have to contribute money to the freebie to pick the elderly up and move them to events.
Why do they have to do that?
Because I'm only the vice chair. I'm the sidekick.
We first started this when the freebie started to get people to go to church on Sunday. So they go around to all the churches, and anybody that's senior that wants to go to mass or to any of the churches, they pick them up and then they bring them home. That's what we were contributing.
What
to
I
the
don't
freebie.
know is why, if the freebie is free to everyone, why does the Elderly
I don't-
Affairs Committee have to contribute to
I
the
didn't
freebie?
think, well, at the time it doesn't run on Sunday. I don't know if it
it's
still
one
is
that's
now or
over
not,
and above the on-demand service. It's dedicated just for the,
for that purpose. And I don't think it runs on the Sunday. I'm not sure, but it wasn't at the time when we started this.
Does it run on Sundays now?
I don't know.
it does. But on demand.
Yes, the elderly affairs, they contribute to those extended hours to allow the senior population to attend either the vigil mass on Saturday evenings or the Sunday masses in the mornings.
So the shuttle picks them up?
Yes. and it
Yes,
breaks
it's
them
the
up.
freebie.
So
Okay, and this
it's-
cannot be paid from PTP funds?
Yeah, I mean, we already have a budget for it, but for the hours that we have determined. So this is hours over and above what is already being paid through the transportation.
Yeah,
fund.
I mean, I think that we should extend our hours and offer this service without charging the Elderly Affairs Committee for it. It's $2,500. I mean, we seem to have
If you could
PTP
get
money.
that done, that's fine. If the
I would
hours
like to
fit-
get that done. We will
If
most
you make
definitely.
that
agree
work,
to-
we'll be happy if we can move the elderly during those extended hours and the extended hours, we'll be more than happy to take that off our budget.
We're
Yeah,
I don't-
charging ourselves for it.
Exactly. So it makes no sense. It should just be part of the PTP money that's utilized for freebie.
Well, what can I tell you?
Eh,
That's what we
We'll
were,
work on that.
Any-
I'm good with that.
Any other issues with the Elderly Affairs Committee? Councilman Ruano, Councilman Garcia,
Just
Councilman Collazo?
just a quick statement. Thank you
Sure.
for everything you do.
Oh, My
Uh,
pleasure.
a lot of towns our size, they have their own, senior centers and they have their own budgets and it's a separate department. And I feel that, for what you provide the elderly here in this town for what you're asking is, you know, it's a great deal for us. You're doing all the work, we're providing, well,
Dottie,
Dottie, of course, and exactly.
Pedro, and all of the people that are here.
Yeah, the committee
Back there.
system, the committee system
Nancy.
does so much of what we would have to do as a town. We would have to have our own departments and budgets and hire more people to do. So our committee system is unique. It's amazing. And, I have no problem with the budget you're asking for.
Thank you so much. Any,
Thank you.
all right,
Thank you, guys. I know Sports Hall of Fame's not gonna be presenting tonight, right? Economic Development's not here either, correct? And Special Needs not here either, correct? All right, perfect. Blasting Advisory Board is asking for an increase of $15,000. The chair's coming up. Anyone have questions on those $15,000? Councilman Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Chairman, how are you?
Good, yourself?
Good. Now, I just want to recognize all the work your committee has done. Your committee's done an amazing job. The advisory board over the last couple of years under your leadership, without budgets, really, only recently for travel. But I think things are the level of awareness now due to your hard efforts and hard work, as I think we're at a level where we need a consistent budget for this. I think that the budget you're requesting will go a long way to continue that message out there for the advocacy, for getting to, I know you're working now. The point is working with other towns in Northwest Miami-Dade. So I am for the budget. I think you need this. It's something that will help you, and you've already shown results. So I'm for that budget.
Perfect. I don't have any problems with
All right.
either. Councilwoman Ruano?
Bad cop. Walk me through it, Miguel, please.
Do you want the nice version? I had prepared a speech that I needed to apologize to Councilman Garcia before I speak, because the consummate gentleman, because I was gonna have some choice words, but with that lead in, I need to back down a bit.
So give me the nice version.
The reality is, it's better. Okay. The reality is, I think it's a conservative number for the efforts that we've been doing. The items that do come our way in assistance, we hit it out of the park. But the reality is that's few and far between. We need to do a major overhaul in we'll call it marketing and getting the word out.
Right, what I don't want to do is allocate these funds and then have no overhaul in that respect, right? Or I know that the participation has increased tremendously when you have meetings. I've been here and the room has been more full and there's more people participating. The travel budget, it's more than last year or the same as last year?
The numbers are the same. The difference is we limited how many people went. So, and it was causing an issue between the group. So the budget number comes from if everybody were to go. In a nutshell.
Right, which we discussed that it was not necessary for everyone to go.
That's where we cut back, right?
Right, okay. So $6,500 was for how many travelers?
5.
6,350. You see, I can't see anything. These numbers are so tiny. Okay, 6,350. Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Gotta eat more carrots.
No, I can't eat enough carrots for these numbers. I need new glasses. And then the materials, this is for the printing of the materials that you take with you on this trip, or it is for the printing of materials that we'll distribute?
In general, we have, right, because we had a small budget, which is why we got creative on how we could bring information, including having a web link. But the reality is, that's when Tallahassee, when we're here, information needs to get disseminated to the public. People need to know what's going on, need to be aware, they need to know what they're looking at. It's reality, but it's appalling to me. It's just, I take it personal when the amount of effort that's been made to show a crack at the foundation of a house and say, I have nothing. It's like, well, what's that? People are just not aware.
Right.
And they need to be aware. It's that simple.
I'm I'm just saying it again. I'm good with this budget, so.
All right, thank you.
Good.
Miguel, man, just wanted to point out, I love Miguel because when I get calls about blasting, I connect them with Miguel. And usually when folks call me like from all over the place, they're really, really, really upset. Like, Mayor, what are you guys doing? And after they talk to Miguel, people are like, holy smokes. You know, the ball's moving forward, you know, things are happening. So I just wanted to thank you for that, for taking the time to talk to residents, like random folks, and just educate them on that. So I just wanted to thank you for that.
Yeah, I received text messages from the mayor at 10 o'clock at night. Hey.
Yeah, he's awake till like 3 in the morning. anyway,
Yeah,
so.
he's not the only one who texted.
But thanks, Miguel. I'm good with it. I'm sure we'll vote on it, but I'll be voting in affirmative.
All right.
So
Thank you.
So while we're on the subject, can we promote the meeting on the 21st of June?
I'm sorry, say it again.
The meeting on the 21st of June
With the Mayor Cava. Yes,
with Mayor Daniela Levine Cava at Country Club of Miami, correct?
correct. Doors open at 6.
Doors open at 6 o'clock. June 21st, just for whoever is watching, there will be a meeting where the mayor of the county will be coming to meet with residents to hear about our blasting issues. If you can provide photographs or if you can bring anything that we can show the mayor and join us for that meeting, that would be great.
Bring their bodies.
And bring your bodies.
perfect. Thank you, Miguel. We got 4 more committees: public safety, culture. I'm just reading them off. Public safety, culture affairs, youth activities task force, and veterans.
Felicia.
Anybody? Okay,
Felicia.
Felicia. Culture affairs is asking for $13,000, $13,218. You come up, Felicia. Come up, Felicia.
Felicia, you're killing me.
Councilwoman Ruano.
Councilwoman Ruano, Felicia, you're killing me. $13,000.
Yeah.
Turn it.
I saw-
Hello, okay. Thank you for allowing us to speak tonight. This budget was approved at the last Cultural Affairs Committee meeting on May 10th. I was not in attendance, so there's some of the items, you'll understand why they were voted on. Sorry, it's always hard to read these things.
So it's
They-
mostly 4th of July, right?
Yeah,
Most
Fourth
the
of
difference is for
July,
4th
I
of
mean,
July.
I have the key, I mean, I highlighted the ones that have been like our traditional events that some people say, no, there's no well attended, but our mayor's attended the fishing tournament for Father's Day, so that says something. So we have the key ones is like the 4th of July. We have, and you can see by the attendance, we have the Summerfest concert, which is one of our longtime events. We have Hispanic Heritage. We have the Black History Month.
Do you remember, Felicia, what months
The
all of
paint-
these events are on? Because this is one of the committees that I think has too many events. I think there's too much going on.
Well, traditionally, our mission is to create activities but if we put them too far apart, we say, what is the committee doing? We're not, I mean, it's a very active committee. And yeah, there's some of them like our Basel event, for example, we haven't done much. We haven't done that many exhibits here, which we wanted to, but because of budget. And one thing that limits us, and I keep emphasizing that, is we're not as lucky as the Elderly Affairs Committee that gets a lot of sponsors.
Mhm.
So we have to really fight for sponsors. And if not, and lately has been a lot of increases in cost. Like for example, the 4th of July, there was an increase in cost because of the stage. Well, the stage has been donated, but all the other items. And let's see,
So there's 14 events that I count.
1, 2, 3.
That's
4,
more
5,
than
6,
one per month.
13, 14.
I still think it's too
Yeah,
much.
right now there's 15. I don't know why we have.
Oh,
so
because there's
many.
one that says grants and aids, so I didn't.
Yeah,
count that
one is,
Well, they're asking for a new one too.
they're asking.
I mean, I don't know what my colleagues, well, there's only 2 of them left, but I don't know what you guys think. Like, I think this is like a lot.
Well, to Felicia's credit, when you asked who wanted to minimize some of their
Mhm.
events, she raised her hand.
Right.
Yes.
So
There's some events that I saw the budget and I think they increased some of them and I think we can decrease the amount if it's, feasible. Like for example, I know for the fishing tournament, they're asking for next year, they're asking, let's see, where is it? I lost
They're
it.
asking for an additional $500. And I believe that was for bait, right? For,
Yes, but I think we originally had, our budget was, so of course, everything is increasing
is
in
more
price. Our original budget has been like $500. And we normally, myself, I've donated, stuff for the event. And it's something that we don't want to get rid of that event because even though it's not a gigantic event, I think it's very meaningful. So that would be one that if we have to reduce the budget, we'll figure something out and we'll discuss it further with the committee.
and there's some events, what's your love story? That's $300.
Yeah, that one we never had a budget for it because we had the restaurants because the price is normally like a gift certificate. And normally we had the restaurants provide the gift certificates. Don't know why they increased it to 300. That's more or less what it cost.
Right,
But they're
that's fine. I
adding
mean,
it, they're adding it.
Some
you
of them
know.
are less, some of them are less costly than others, right? And obviously
Yes,
4th of
and-
July is the one that
and
takes the bulk
Correct.
of, how many concerts do we have? Because I see concert on the
Concerts,
fairway.
we
and I
have the
see-
Summer Fest, which has been our
Mhm.
signature event besides the 4th of July. And then we have the concert on the fairway. That's which is, we bring, it's 2 a year.
So it's 2 a year. And
So-
concert on the fairway is on what time of the year?
November. Unfortunately, this year we had a downpour and very few attended, but if you see pictures of it, the park is filled up just as much as the 4th of July.
That's a beautiful concert. I've attended
Yes,
and it's a
yes.
beautiful.
And we get a good attendance on that one. This year, we didn't have good attendance. As far as the Black History Month, we have our Florida Memorial University, the Ambassador Corral that comes. The previous year, because they changed the venue, it was very poorly attended. And then we moved it back to the original place where we have it. And of course, the attendance increased. I agree that we need to promote these events more because, and we want to bring culture. I mean, our mission is to bring culture to
Right.
the people and it's not easy. It's not easy
No,
because,
it's not, but
you
I
know,
would
people,
like.
and this is frankly, my opinion. Miami is very sports oriented. Miami is not an arts oriented city like in Europe. And we don't have patrons of the arts like in former Europe in the old days. So we struggle. I mean, people don't understand that culture and art are important for a
Absolutely.
city because it brings tourists, it brings, and there's a lot of people that look for that when they move to a city. So it's not an easy task, but I really enjoy being in this committee. I'm trying my best to keep it going.
Right. I would,
Eh,
Councilmember Collazo's not here, but I know that last time that we discussed this, he reminded us that a while back, we tried to quantify the number of guests at each of these,
Yes.
not
and
just
there's-
in your committee, but in all of our committees to quantify how many people attended each event so that we can see which ones were worth repeating or not. I'm not sure if we can do that. It's, this
It
is,
is-
oh,
it
okay.
is,
And I
it
didn't see
is.
that. I saw estimate, but I didn't see
You can
attendees.
see
Okay.
what, we used to have the book reading. We still kept the holiday book reading. That has not stopped. And then the other ones are like I fizzled out because again, people, this very selective group of people that read and enjoy reading. We had our first one after so many years last October and was very successful. It was here in the chamber. And they're planning another one. We're doing like, I think 2 or 3 a year. So we don't have too many of them, but we want to bring quality authors because I think it's important. It's important that we create an atmosphere of culture in our town. We have a beautiful town and we need culture in it. So to even make it better. You can read through it.
I will. I'll
some-
read through
and
it, but I'd
and
like you to
highlighted the
discuss.
ones that have increased.
Thank you.
Like the Summerfest increase, the book talk, I think remained the same. The, let's see, concert on the fairway, I think we decreased it. I don't know why they decreased
Yep.
it. Then we have the Summerfest, which I think is gonna increase, but we're hoping for a sponsor for that one. I think is one that is worth it. And I invite you to come. Last time, I didn't see any one of you there, and it was kind of like disappointing.
Do you have any,
Thank you.
on any particular items, any questions, Councilman?
No, I would
Garcia?
just like to invite you to have a conversation with the committee and see, which ones of these events we can remove.
Yeah, there's.
Because there's multiple events on one same month, and then we have other committees that have events on as well, right? So sometimes we have, back-to-back events. I think it's a strain on staff. So if there's any that the committee would be willing, I wouldn't feel comfortable removing any events
No,
myself,
I
right? So,
I will keep the traditional ones, just for the sake of the people that attend them. Count on going there.
right, but
like
you
I said.
also have to look at the attendance, right?
Yes,
So just based on these numbers, perhaps you can share with the committee and maybe they can see, because sometimes the traditional ones, the community loses
no,
interest as well.
like I said, the book reading ones fizzled out totally
Right.
years ago. So we're trying to bring it back, and there's new events here that I don't know if they'll be successful, but you can read it down the list. I can't even read them.
Thank you,
Women
Felicia.
History Month, we have our, I think they increased it's, like I said, it's because of the cost of operating and the cost of items that go into the,
Sure.
and some of them have no history, because they're,
What have we done with the 4th of July for this year? Because I know that you guys were underfunded for this year.
I have to talk to my liaison to see, I know we have a confirmed sponsor, but there are other potential sponsors that are coming in, but I don't know who they are or how much money they're bringing in. I've
Okay.
reached out to a few potential sponsors. I don't know if they have responded to Isle. So, it's just a matter of, like I said, tightening our belt and hoping to get sponsors. We're trying not to increase it, but, I think the difference between last year and this year is $11,564. And if we can decrease that, we'll work on it. We'll have the committee
Thank you.
tighten their belt. Thank you so much.
Mr. Mayor, just quick.
And again,
sorry.
you're
Yeah.
invited to oral events are coming up. Fishing tournament, 4th of July, Summerfest concert. Those are very good concerts that are worthwhile going to.
Councilman
Spread the
Garcia
word.
had-
Thank you.
had some words.
Sure, Felicia, just thank you for what you do. I know you took a big responsibility and I think you're doing a great job and thank you for taking that on.
Thank you. I mean, the whole committee works very hard.
Yes, I know.
to
The entire
put
committee
this
does.
together.
Councilman Morano brought up a point. I want to ask the manager. It's more an observation. And for the staff. Do the committees coordinate major events so they don't put undue burden on the staff and what they have to do when it comes to marketing it?
Talk about how they coordinate the calendar, Claudia said, please.
No, if it's a yes, then great. I just want to make sure that they're not making you guys jump over, hoops the same day, 3 or 4 events or 2 events or.
No, they really don't coordinate their calendars together. The answer is no.
Okay, I would,
But
Oh, I
we
I
do,
think we
right?
should share our
We do?
calendar with the rest of the
We
committees.
coordinate between the committees, our staff? To make sure we don't have, for instance, 2 events on the same day.
There's been instances where we do have 2 events, one in the morning, there's a bike ride, and then there's a concert
Yeah.
at night. Yes.
then I would ask all the committees in lieu of trying to be more efficient, get as many people possible to work together with staff, perhaps not to have events back to back on the same date, if possible, or major events on the same weekend that might cannibalize, the people that are going to show up to your events. It's just a matter of coordinating with the staff a little bit more, and maybe that'll to Councilman Morano's concern that some of the events weren't getting as many people. That could be one of the issues, perhaps. Maybe
possible.
it's a simple
Yeah,
fix.
it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, last year we had the fishing tournament. We started, I mean, I'm there like before 7:30 till noon, and then we had the Juneteenth that afternoon, so it was very exhausting for the committee. So we're trying again to do one a month, and we'll see. We'll work something out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Felicia. And we have 3 more committees left: Public Safety, Youth Activities Task Force, and Veterans. I want to apologize to all 3 because I need to leave in the next 5 minutes. I know Public Safety is requesting an increase of $4,100 and Youth Activities requesting an increase of $20,000. Veterans is requesting a $27,000 increase. So, and if anybody wants to come up, I do apologize because I need to leave. I have no other choice, but in the next 4 minutes.
Speak
you know, only leave
quickly.
3 council
Quick.
members.
Can you turn on the microphone at the bottom?
All right, sorry about that. I'd like to introduce Nancy Rogers, our chair, and I'm George Pena of the Public Safety Committee. I have great news for you guys. We're asking for less money than last year. The bad news is we need more than what you gave us last year. For this, I've been a member of the Public Safety Committee for 10 years, and I'm also a 25-year law enforcement veteran. And for the first time in my 10 years here, we almost had to cancel our showcase event, which is the Police and Fire Appreciation Breakfast. Times are tough. We moved our event to Shula's. We wanted to have it more formal, more professional for our fire and police personnel from the town because they deserve the best for the work that they do. And we also had to cap it at 75 due to financial reasons. At Shula's, it was a little bit more expensive, but they deserve it. And Nancy went straight from negotiating with Shula's to begging. And she was able to get the price. They worked with us this year, but I have a feeling that no matter how much she begs next year, with everything going up, they're not going to give us a break. So that is our signature event. Obviously, we want to keep it. As you know, it's the venue, the breakfast, the plaques, the raffles. Sometimes we need more than 2 plaques because there could be 2 or 3 officers or firemen who jump in and do a life-saving event or something like that. So we have to budget for extra plaques need be. We have the raffles and the door prizes that we use. So that is our signature event. For some other stuff, we piggyback off other committees. Like in 2 weeks, we'll be involved with the Giving Gators, I believe is the name of it. We're going to piggyback with them. So we try and do what we can with what we have. But our signature event is the Police and Fire Appreciation, and we need more money so we could keep that. It would really be a shame if we would not be able to do that to our first responders. So please, we don't want to defend our title as the committee that has the lowest
The
funding.
lowest budget.
We will gladly give that title up to somebody else. So please, if you could give us a little bit more, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's 2 more committees, Veterans Committee and Youth Activities. I know Veterans asking for $8,500 more for the Veterans 5K and Veterans Day, $15,000, which I'm okay with
All right.
both.
Basically, I'll try to be brief, be brilliant, and be gone. First thing is the $8,500 is seed money. We expect to be reimbursed by sponsorships. And so the town will actually be out of no money. You actually will make money to be able to give to veterans causes.
Okay.
That's what we've always done. The Veterans Day Parade. We're not quite sure how we want to split the requirements and the funding. The town does a lot of stuff, and quite frankly, we're happy the town does a lot of stuff. But, one of the things we're concerned about is, as we used to call it, mission creep. Sooner or later, the mission starts creeping onto our table, and we want to make sure we have a placeholder funding just in case it does. But that doesn't mean we want to take the mission because you guys are doing a great job. So that's where we're at with that. So that's really a placeholder amount. Patriots Day. Again, we get sponsors. For a lot of times, we don't actually even have to pay anything out. However, it's the 9/11 ceremony. Same thing with Memorial Day. We got sponsors this time around, and you went there, Councilman Garcia, and I really appreciate that. And these are our signature federal holidays. Memorial Day is the most solemn day in our country, period. There is no more solemn day. And 9/11 is one that we as our generation has lived through. It's our Pearl Harbor, it's our, event that framed our generation. So we should honor those two. But both of those funds, both of them events usually get fully sponsored. However, if it ever happens, there'll be a time where it doesn't. I think it's important that we allocate funds to make sure we are able to present a tribute to those who have served and who were victims of 9/11 as well. That's all I got.
I'm good with that.
So the $15,000 that you have here for Veterans Day is in the event
It's for
that,
the parade. It's just,
For
it's just meant basically a placeholder just in case.
because up until this point, the town has
The
been
town has done
covering.
it all, and the only thing we've ever really needed was, we have a lot of veterans who like to march in the parade, and our average veteran age is above 70. They don't march. They ride. And so we had that float,
The float was
and
wonderful.
yeah, we're gonna have another float. And so far, we've been sponsored. But if we don't have, the only thing I can ever see us spending money on is a float to get those veterans on there. And that's about it. But so far, we've been sponsored. So we've been very fortunate because people like to sponsor veterans. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Colonel. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chairman. Last but not least, Youth Activities Task Force.
Save the best for last.
Spring Fling, Movies in the Park, and Halloween are the
Yeah,
three the most that you're asking for.
good evening, guys. I know it's scary. I have the biggest increase, but there's a few things that I want to go over. First of all, it's sad what I've heard here tonight from you guys. Unfortunately, on my point of view, I've been here for 11 years on this committee. And now I think this is my 4th or 5th year as chair of the committee. We are volunteers at the end of the day, putting on these events for the town, saving you guys money so you don't have to pay salaries for more staff, right? So at the end of the day, you're saving hundreds of thousands of dollars instead of paying staff while you have volunteers doing these events. My committee did go ahead and ask for more money, but we did remove 2 events or 2 items from our line items.
What are the items that you removed?
We removed the ice cream social as well as the youth employment initiative.
He did, at least when he raised his hand, they actually did eliminate some
Yeah,
events.
so.
You
a
get rid
few
of ice cream?
Things on why we did raise our budget and why we're asking for more. There's actually many different things, and I didn't decide to do this. My committee is a team. We are a team. We work together and we've decided these numbers. As you know, we are in a point of inflation. Everything costs more, and we ran out of money basically last year. It's very hard to get sponsors when half our committee are children or students. I felt it when I was a student going up to a business owner or business and they laugh at your face because you are a kid, right? Most businesses will not give money to a kid. The adults on the committee right now, there's 4 out of 7 that we're supposed to have. We have full-time jobs. It's very difficult to go to these businesses when I'm working full-time as well as doing this, right? I'm giving my time to the town because I love our city. I love the town of Miami Lakes. If I didn't love it, I wouldn't be here for the 11 years I've been here. Since I started high school, I've been on this committee. I'm gonna go through this list just so you guys could understand why we're asking for more. I'll start off with Halloween, which is one of the biggest increases. Last year we had 15,000. This year we're asking for 21,300. The reason we're asking for this is 1, the prices have gone up. 2, we need to pay for police at our events. So we've never budgeted for police at our events. So that's part of our budget.
You haven't paid for police before? At your events? No?
Well, we
I
just
don't know.
recently started putting police at our events because they keep getting bigger and bigger. As you guys know, the bigger events get and demand goes up, prices have to go up, right? You're getting more people. That's why you were at our event last year. You were at our event last year. You saw how big Halloween was and how crazy it was. We ran out of pumpkins in 30 seconds. We ran out of candy in 5 minutes.
You don't gotta sell me. We're good. I'm good.
Yeah. As well as Spring Fling. Spring Fling's another big event that we have. It's not our signature event. It's the town's signature events. We have some of the biggest events in the town. I think, and we have some of the lowest monies for these huge events that we're hosting. Spring Fling, we ordered, I think it was 14,000 eggs. Those 14,000 eggs went in less than a minute.
We just gotta get the helicopter back, that sponsor that had the helicopters.
But also included in Spring Fling, why the price is doubled is due to one, police, as well as possibly barricades for our event, because it's unmanageable when we can't have barricades. We have hundreds of, or a lot of student volunteers out there for their safety and everyone else's safety. I think we've seen other cities, how they do it. They actually barricade their parks or their areas where they're doing their eggs and let people in little by little instead of having a horde going into the middle. It's a safety issue. And I know Officer Amador was there last year. He saw it. It is a safety issue, and that's why we're raising this dollar amount. Next is Movies at the Park. Movies at the Park is one of the events. We did lower the amount of movies we're doing. Prices did go up to put this event together. And we noticed last year that when we did it, when you don't pay for quality, you don't get quality. We had one movie where we paid less for one vendor. The power went out in the park because they blew all the breakers in the park. The screen was tiny. No one could hear anything. We did another movie after that with the other vendor that we usually have, and it went perfectly fine with a little bit more money.
Lo barato sale caro.
So that's one of those things. There's also a nighttime event. Same with Halloween. It's a nighttime event. We need more police presence out there, more eyes in the area. Next is Bike Rodeo. Bike Rodeo has been in a little bit of an incline, but it was due to COVID. I have a feeling we are trying to get more people involved. It is a bike rodeo and safety day, so it's not only for bike rodeo. We are planning a lot more ahead this year for it. And I think we've already booked some agencies to be there with us this year.
We have a lot of participation in the community bike rides. Is there any way that you guys can piggyback those two events?
We've tried. They don't want to work with us to do it with us.
Rudy?
I'm sorry, who doesn't want to work with?
Where'd Rudy go? They don't want to.
You could ask my liaison that we've been at meetings talking about it. I've talked to Rudy about it, and they do their own thing. They have their own way of doing it. They usually like doing their night rides. This event's in the morning.
Oh, but they have some morning
But
bike rides as well.
I'm always open. We did it with them once or twice before. I'm always open to
Because I
working.
think that would give the bike rodeo more traction.
And Bike Rodeo, as you guys know, is the second oldest event in the town. It used to be one of the most popular events in the town, and I believe we're also working on changing the location this year back to its original location on Main Street and trying to bring this event back to life.
Either that or it's run its course. And
Yep,
it's one of
I
those events that
completely-
people
I
just
completely
don't
agree with
have
you.
an appetite for anymore.
Yep. Next is Just Run. We always budget for Just Run. We are not changing the budget for that. Next is the Youth Advocacy Award. This year is our first time doing it. I believe we are opening our applications shortly for it for high school seniors. And we're just asking for that again. And then we added a new line item called miscellaneous. This is mainly for marketing materials, pencils, let's say Youth Activities Task Force, Town of Miami Lakes, stickers, different little things like that. Also possibly t-shirts for volunteers if we can, hats or something that we could identify our volunteers, and also pamphlets and things like that to give out to our town residents. Our total comes out to $55,000 is what we're requesting. Just so you guys are aware, it said that we had a $20,000 increase. It's actually 18,800, not $20,000 increase. This is what our
The
committee
increase
voted
is
on.
56,200.
Yeah, our,
That's not what I actually looked over our meeting minutes. Our meeting minutes voted on $55,000 increase. Or
55,000
$55,000.
total budget.
Yeah, total budget.
In your defense, your events are the ones that receive the most participation. So these, looking at the attendee number, it's pretty high up there.
And those attendee numbers, I don't believe are correct either, by the way. If I know you guys go off, believe you guys go off of Eventbrite. If I'm being honest with you, Eventbrite is the most horrible system in counting people I've ever seen. Because we get more
Because
people.
there's no entry point or any kind of.
Exactly, we're
Can
not
you
checking
get-
people
can you
in.
Get Ernie one of those clickers, so like,
But
you see somebody.
I'm being honest with
Your
you.
five for Ernie's.
If I'm being honest with you, that number is probably half of the amount of people that we're getting at these events. When I saw what the number was for 4th of July, I was like, that isn't right either. We have way more people go
There's,
to 4th of July.
they're very difficult to quantify.
So there's something that needs to be fixed with the numbers when it comes to the amount of people going to these events. at the end of the day, I wanted to say the reason we raised our budget, just so you guys know, our budget used to be almost double what we had last year. It went down during COVID because we weren't doing in-person big events anymore. It went down to what we have now. Now we're back in person doing these huge events. How are we going to go off from doing little parades that cost what we had before to doing these large scale events? There's something that needs to be fixed here. I know you guys aren't adamant about raising the budget, but give us back what we had before.
I think that's just me. Don't blame these guys.
I know,
Just-
but we used to have a
told you I'm good.
budget for $60,000. I'm talking about the future of Miami Lakes or the kids in our town, right? I grew up in this town. I grew up going to all these events. My dad was on the dais with you guys. I started when he started in the town, and I'm still here. He might be gone from the town, but I'm still here. I've seen what this committee does. I've seen what all our committees do, but on behalf of the Youth Activities Task Force and being on this committee, I believe we do need more money to bring these events to life. You know, you guys saw it last year, what we had to go through for Halloween. It's a headache. And for me, I don't get paid a dollar out of this. I don't get paid a penny out of this. I'm doing this out of the kindness of my heart. I get calls from Ernie on random nights trying to figure stuff out. And we're scrambling to get stuff done. I don't need to answer the phone, but you know why I do it? Because I love this town. You guys don't hear from me a lot. You know why? Because I don't want to bother you guys. When do you guys see me calling you? I'm probably the only chair that you hear less from me than any other chair in this town, because I do as much as I can to not bother you guys, right? But I do appreciate your time. My team is working as hard as we can. I have half students, half adults. We're the only committee that does not have full adults in the committee. So I'm working with student schedules, volunteer schedules. By the way, we also bring the most volunteers into the town with I'd say over 500 volunteers a year. And most of them in Halloween itself. So just take that into consideration. We're saving you guys money by increasing our budget. Yeah, it sounds weird. It doesn't make sense. But at the end of the day, we're doing this because we care about our town. It's for our kids. Our kids feel discouraged when we bring something up, like what you said earlier. We had our helicopter at Spring Fling. We got rid of our helicopter. That's downgrading our event. Once you do something in the town, or once you do an event a certain way, people are expecting more, not less. So please, I ask you guys to work with us. Even if it's not the proposed budget that we asked for, I at least ask to raise it a little bit and help us with our inflation and help us with prices. Ernie could give you the receipts. We have comparisons of what it costs last year compared to this year. It is almost double the price. Everything is almost double the price. So again, I thank you guys for your time, and I hope you guys take this into consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Chairman.
much.
Appreciate you, brother. This workshop is adjourned.
What do you guys want us to do with the general fund budget? All these requests or none of these requests?
Well, I mean, I think the consensus was that everybody wants to approve them. I mean, I'm the only negative Nancy.
That's why I wanted this to be
Actionable. If I was to take a straw poll, I think everybody